Welcome to Screen Vomit, baby. I am your number one. This is a only movie podcast, and I'm the only one co-host with the name Kali J. And with me, as always, is my perfect co-host, Grandma Kayla. Hi, Kayla.
Hi, it's me. This is what happens when I let Colin open the podcast.
They never let me. I love it.
Okay, so hi, welcome to Screen Vomit. We do also with us today have a very special guest that I'm very excited about. They are Screamo royalty in the United States here. The person who runs Middleman Records. They also have a podcast that's way better than ours if you like music. You can find their podcast, Everything Remade, on their Bandcamp for Middleman Records. They're also in approximately 200 bands, one of which just released a new album, Plague Walker. And this will be my pal, Sean Decker.
Hello.
Hell yeah. That was a whole thing. Did you have that written down?
I had a couple notes, but it was mostly in my head.
That's like a...
I just want to make sure I included everything because...
That's a lot of stuff.
Look, you spend your whole life accumulating some credits and doing cool stuff. I feel like it should be mentioned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sean, how you doing?
All right, how are y'all?
Good. Very good.
You know, we're living.
Yeah.
It's funny. All the guests that we've had on in the last couple episodes, some of them aren't out yet. Everybody's just like, oh, everything's normal in my life. I'm working. I'm just having a really normal time. And I'm over here like, I've been losing my GD mind. Like, I don't know what's going on. What day is it? I haven't showered in 8 days. I haven't stepped out of bed in 3. Like, I don't know what's going on.
I mean,
so
to be fair, Kayla, you are in normal life losing your mind constantly because it's like you have 100 insurance claims going at once, and your boss is getting deported back to Lithuania, but you have to pay for the green card or something. There's so many wild things that go on in your life that are so hectic.
That is true. And one thing about, like, everything that's been going on is that just about everything in my life is no longer happening, everything I was working on. So that's another reason why I feel insane, because everything just stopped at once, and it's very, very jarring.
Yeah. I was supposed to be on tour in Europe right now.
So. Oh, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so rough. I saw that. Gosh, that would have been cool.
But instead, you're here with us.
But
yeah, I'm happy to be here.
You've probably been to Europe before, though, have you?
toured Europe. Not Plague Walker, but Coma Regalia's toured Europe a couple times. But it was going to be the first for Plague Walker, and I was really excited because this is our vocalist Annie. This is her first band, and we've been doing the band for a while, but this was a really big, deal for her, and so that's the biggest thing for me is just like I really was looking forward to making that happen for her. Like one of my best friends, and so that was the big thing for me is like that let down, somebody else being let down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's rough, and it's rough times out here. So people who normally listen to our podcast or don't, I don't know, whatever. Our thing is normally that we do movies that are in theaters, but because of everything, we've been doing movies you can find at home. So our guests picked the movie this week, and they picked Alita: Battle Angel.
Sean, had you seen this before you recommended it?
So no, the thing is like, I grew up on like bad movies. Mm-hmm. And so when I watch a good film, like I appreciate a good film, good movie, like anyone else. But a lot of times, like, I can watch a really bad film and also, like, really enjoy it for different reasons. And so,
Oh, for sure.
my partner was like, that looks so bad, when we originally saw the trailer, and I'm like, I don't know, And so I've had this one in the back of my mind, like, I want to see that movie, like, and it came to Blu-ray and all that, and I didn't pick it up. And so when, Kayla asked if I would do this, like, I thought it was like, okay, it's a perfect opportunity, like an excuse to, like, have to watch that movie.
Yeah.
And so here we are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ultimately, regardless of anything that I will say in this podcast, and I will say some probably repulsive things about this movie, but having said that, I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah.
This is a doozy, folks. This is a lot.
Yeah, I saw this movie in theaters in 3D. So, okay. So moving along here, because we have a little bit of cast to get through in this movie.
Do we ever?
Well, starting with director Robert Rodriguez, very famous, cult film director. The Machete movies, Planet Terror, Sin City.
Spy Kids.
He did do the Spy Kids movies. That's also in his...
You just didn't say them.
I didn't say them. So also we have the screenplay by James Cameron, like the most famous movie maker ever. I don't know. And then, cast, we have Rosa Salazar playing Alita. She's in Bird Box. She also had a storyline in Parenthood, which famously I watched for 100 years. Sean, you haven't listened to all the shows, but I did watch through all 6 seasons of Parenthood, and I was hate watching it probably by like episode 3 of season 1. And, but by that time, I was committed to finishing.
Yeah.
So there are like multiple episodes of me being like, I hate this show. Here I am on season 5. But she actually had a good storyline on the show. So we have Christoph Waltz, who's like Quentin Tarantino little boy, because he's in Inglourious Bastards and Django Unchained. He's also in the Tim Burton movie Big Eyes. So this guy's got a little Big Eye theme going on here.
That movie sucked.
I didn't watch it. I'm not a Tim Burton guy. Then we got Jennifer Connelly, obviously the Labyrinth little hottie. Then we have King Mahershala Ali, king of all the Oscars. Then we have Jorge Lendeborg Jr., he's in the 2 most recent Spider-Man live-action movies, and he was in Bumblebee, and this was all like within 2 years.
He's blowing up.
Movie too. Yeah, he freaking exploded. Let's see. Ed Skrein is in Deadpool. Kean Johnson from Euphoria. And there's one guy in this movie that I met in real life before.
What?
Yeah.
You met Ed Skrein?
No, not that guy. But a different guy by the name of Derek Mears. He plays Romo in this movie, who is... do you remember who I'm talking about?
The very beginning.
In my notes, I call him the Joker.
Because every single person who appears on screen in this movie has a name. And yes, it's the thuggish robot who Alita kills. Alita's first kill.
Yeah, when like the 3 people corner her in the alley or whatever, he's the skinny guy.
Yeah.
Right.
He's most notorious for playing Jason Voorhees in the 2009 Friday the 13th movie.
Oh.
And that's why I met him, because I used to go to horror conventions. We have a really great pic together. When I met him, obviously he had just come off of being Jason Voorhees, so like had the biggest muscles, like was so built right then. And so I was like, oh, hey, like, can I get a picture with you? And he goes to like do the classic like arm around the shoulders smile, and I was like, excuse me, no. Here's what I need from you is can we get a picture where we're both flexing and like showing our muscles? So that picture
man.
exists of me in like 2009 with this like giant man, and we're both flexing.
That rules.
It's a great pic. We'll have to share it on the Instagram.
Hell yeah.
I love that pic. And then we have 2 uncredited celebs.
I got 3.
Well, there's 3, but I didn't know who the third one was.
Okay. Jai Courtney.
Yeah, I know who that is.
He's in Suicide Squad.
Michelle Rodriguez being another uncredited.
Mm-hmm.
And then, should we do... Well, we'll save the other one for the end of the episode.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, let's keep it spicy, folks. You have to listen to the whole episode now.
Colin, tell us what our critic scores are.
Critical scores, we got a 61% out of Rotten Tomatoes, which is...
Fine.
I can abide by that. Metacritic? Hold me, someone catch me because I'm fainting because I agree with Metacritic. What? Metacritic gave this a 53 out of 100, which is, I agree with.
The only time I've ever seen Metacritic be close to Rotten Tomatoes when we've done this. And that, but tell us what that Google user score is, though.
I don't got
that one up?
I don't got it.
I'll tell you what it is.
Is it
94%, baby. 94% of Google users like this movie. So that's how you know where the real ones are. Okay. All right, let's watch this trailer so we can get into this dang movie.
I got so much to say.
You told me the story of the war, when the ground shook and the sky burned. Of the ones that survived, who awoke to a different world, where the powerful prey on the weak. But that's not the way it has to be.
When I found you, your very human brain was miraculously intact.
It's the loneliest feeling not to know who you are.
In time, you'll remember.
I remember black skies, the lightning all around me.
Alita is new again.
It's a harsh world down here. You gotta be willing to do what it takes.
Alita, run! My God. She's the last of her kind. She contains technology that have been lost for 300 years.
Let me show you something.
This body, I feel a connection to it. I can't explain. You know more about me than you're saying.
Alita, some things are better left forgotten.
And I'll find out for myself.
She's threatening the natural order of things. I need you to destroy her. Alita, they will come for you.
I'll have to face them head on. I'm gonna need you to stand way back.
Tonight is not a game. It is a hunt.
Across this new
I had a random thought while watching the trailer. So this movie takes place in 2563, the year 2563. Jesus. So just thinking about the music that's on the trailer, what do you think music will sound like in the year 2563?
Thinking rock.
I was just thinking, like, what did music sound like 500 years ago versus now? And then I can't even imagine what.
Okay, TBQH, I don't think humans will be on Earth on 2563.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah. That's the first thought I had was, like, the very first thing on the screen is 2563, 300 years after the faucet. They're being very fucking generous with that, like,
Yeah.
200
Like, all right,
years
I'm
from
out.
now projection. Like, very fucking generous about that fall, you know? You know.
Yo, okay, this movie, I barked laughing in the first 30 fucking seconds. Because in the opening, like, production line, it shows the 20th Century Fox thing, but then like lightning like claps and it says 26th Century Fox.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh yeah. Well,
And it's all decrepit and like
Lauren said that they've done that in like a bunch of movies.
really?
Yeah.
That's-
I think they did it
That's
in.
probably true.
Yeah, I remember what movie she was saying they did that, but she was like, "Oh, real original." Like, and I was like, it makes sense that that's happened before, but
Like
yeah,
Futurama did that, I think. It's
Right.
the
Did they?
30th Century Fox.
right.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Were they the first? They probably were.
Oh, they were yeah, probably. But it set the tone for me so well. And like it honestly it disarmed me because I going in I was like cynical and like, ugh, this is gonna be so long, it's 2 hours. And then that happened and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a fucking romp. Like this is going to be goofy as fuck and like, and you know what? It moved.
Yeah. They fit a lot into 2 hours.
Holy shit.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, first, we should say this movie is based on a manga called The Battle Angel Alita. Well, the American version is called that.
Okay.
Written by Yukito Kishiro. It was released between 1990 to 1995. Mm-hmm. And there is an anime from 1993, a Japanese anime, that goes by the Japanese name Ganmu. So the reason why they didn't call it Battle Angel Alita and instead chose to call it Alita Battle Angel was because at the producer John Landau's insistence, because James Cameron only does TNA movies and not the TNA you're thinking of. We're talking movies that start with the letter A or the letter T, i.e. Aliens, Terminator, Abyss, Avatar, True Lies, Titanic.
Oh, that's a real thing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's new
So
to
that's
me.
why they changed it to Alita Battle Angel,
Wow.
which is
That is
just so goofy.
That is like a fuck. I fucking respect that. I don't know why.
Psycho.
That's such like a idiosyncrasy to have. I just respect that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Why? Who knows why? Just because. Yeah, do it.
Just
and
we were this close to Angel Battle Alita. Or Angel Alita Battle. Yeah. Put Angel at the front. Really
I
fuck
kind of
with
like
us.
Alita Battle Angel. It kind of
goofy as fuck.
lends itself to how goofy this movie is, so you come in not taking it too seriously.
Yeah.
Well, and the averse to that is that like the whole like actual story, I guess, is you can split it into 3 parts, and the other parts are named like Fallen Angel or something like that. So that actually probably makes sense from like how they thought they were gonna make several movies, or I don't know whether that'll all still happen, but
Yeah,
so that
you're probably right.
had
Yeah.
something to do with it as well.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
James Cameron also was trying to make this movie since the year 2000, and it did not get made until 2019. So
Damn.
Wow.
he bought the website domain in the year 2000
Wow.
of like battleangelelita.com.
Oh my
or
god.
something.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
He is crazy, isn't he? He's a real wackadoo.
I think so. But now he's just making Avatar movies for the rest of his life. So, according to his IMDb, they're up to Avatar 5 in production. So, yeah.
What a life he must live.
Okay, so let's talk about the little movie. We already
Yeah.
mentioned it's set in 2563. They say it's 300 years after the fall.
Mm-hmm.
According to the manga, is it manga or manga? I don't know. Look,
Either or.
I'm white. I don't know the answer. The Iron City, where they're located in, is in the city, or in the land formerly known as Kansas City, Missouri. However, they changed their setting for the movie to be like in the Panama City, Panama area because, according to James Cameron, the only way that the city of Zalem, which is the floating city above them, can float is by hanging from a space elevator, which, according to whatever science James Cameron's taking in, could only work physically near the equator.
No one cares, dude.
Oh wow.
No one cares.
Yeah.
That's how deep he got into the lore of,
Dude. Oh,
of
Jamie.
this town.
James Cameron. Jimmy, come here.
Fuck.
You're doing too much.
My first thing that I thought when we were watching it was like, oh, the floating city thing, and then the Final Fantasy VII remake just came out. So I was
Yeah.
like, which one of these was first, Final Fantasy VII or this
Alita.
manga? And it was the manga. So yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that floating cities and stuff go, way the hell back in sci-fi literature and stuff. But it was such a parallel for me that I was like, which one was first? And
Yeah, just the timing of everything right now. Yeah.
the manga does predate that by a bit.
Yeah.
But, he really tried to suss that out, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
He really tried.
Okay, I don't know. Everything is named, and everything is named the dumbest name you could think of. I could come up, like, if you told me to, hey, make up a sci-fi name, I'd go Klashi Ba. And, like, that's a fucking name in this movie. Fucking Ison Ob. Fucking Charon.
Excuse me, Colin. It's called world building. Ever heard of it?
Krenuka. What is this shit?
I don't know, man. I just told you
hated
how
the
far,
names.
how deep they went with the space elevator. Could only work near the equator, so you
There-
can
look.
only imagine the levels of details that went into this.
I'm interested in reading the manga at this point, like just to see, but I don't know how much was lifted directly from that. Maybe that's, part of it is just like someone, 30 years ago trying to imagine what, some of these names would.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, they are pretty ridiculous. They're so much so that I was like, I need to have the cast thing pulled up just so I know who people were talking about, because I did not.
Well, I'll tell you, throughout my notes, the only person whose character name is actually used in my notes is Alita herself.
Right.
Otherwise, we have like things such as Mohawk guy,
right.
big boy with the shoulders,
Yeah.
things like that.
I wrote every name. I was dying. How many fucking names there were and how fucking terrible they all were.
So speaking of themes from futuristic things that are often seen, when you were talking about the floating city, another thing that I thought about, so like when the very beginning of this movie is the doctor finding body parts in a big old dump, basically. Really, most of the world looks like a big old dump.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking of like how many movies that are set in the future that I've seen where it just looks like trash everywhere,
Yep.
I was thinking of like Ready Player One or like Wall-E or like doesn't like the new Blade Runner, like the Blade Runner 2049 or whatever, isn't that like that too? Like there's so many
Probably.
movies where the future is just like trash everywhere. Which sure makes sense, but I don't know, they also could invent a world where either it's the same as it is now or relatively, or like somebody invents something that we can do with all our GD trash. But also in this movie, they have like the underworlds, or like they say that like things have been built on top of each other and on top of each other.
Yeah.
So then couldn't they just put the trash underneath too? I don't know. But they're not doing that.
So, they kept saying things were built on top of each other, and I'm gonna jump ahead really quick to the scene where Grenwishka, I think, the big giant robot, says they are one level below a restaurant. And he says, everything was built on top of each other, but welcome to my world where I grew up. And it's one level below the top world.
Yeah.
They punch through that really fucking easy too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like I say really easy. I mean, it was like not like they just whatever, but it was just like a floor is basically what he punched through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that's it. That's the difference.
I wrote in my notes that I hope everyone in this town has really sturdy flooring.
Yeah, there you go.
Just imagine. So the architecture is based on the walled city and the vertical slums in Hong Kong. And I would suggest people actually like read up on this because it is really interesting. But basically they like did just that, like kind of started building buildings on top of buildings on top of buildings to where like houses are only holding up each other and like not really holding up their own selves. And they've made these like really tall buildings that are so sketchy, but like kind of have their own government too. Like it's really like anarchy, and it's pretty wild. It breaks like every code, but they're just like, what are you gonna do about it?
I'm looking at pics of it now, and it's
yeah.
This looks like what every you were talking about how every movie. Every sci-fi movie in the future is all about trash, and everywhere's trash. And, like, that's what, like, these walled slums of Hong Kong look like they're, like, I'm like, oh, this is, what did you say? Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Yeah, wild.
I think it's kind of brave to show things being normal and not trash. And I think that's why, like, shows like Black Mirror, like that's why it's so scary, is because it's like real but just a little different, you know? It's like our current reality but like just a little different.
Just a little twist, mate.
So imagine if they set this movie in a place that looks like, you know, the suburbs or whatever.
Yeah.
And then this like freaky ass wide-eyed chick shows up.
No one talks about her eyes.
Yeah, not in the... Her eyes were made like that so that... Because she's an anime girl. Well, okay, first we should say just the little beginning part.
Okay.
So the doc finds her little body in the dump. Look, he's holding her torso. She got no hair, no bod, just her little torso and her eyes and face and whatever, her head. I guess some would say her head. And I'm just sitting there waiting for her to, like, open her eyes and go, boo. You know?
Yeah, something.
Wouldn't that have been funny? That could have been good. Like, I'm just going to tell Alita Battle Angel what they could have done. So I did have one thing to say was when he takes her home, he gives her a little bod or whatever, and he's sitting there watching her sleep and is like, "What are you dreaming, little angel?"
Yeah.
And I kind of think about how just the way they treat her, or like she's referred to as having some sort of feature of an angel several times in this movie, and don't you think that's like a little bit infantilizing and like kind of misogynistic?
Yeah, there were some weird scenes, you know, where you were like, this is a little bit weird.
Yeah.
And soon after she wakes up, he's like, she just woke up and he's already like touching her cheek and wiping away her tears. Like, this is
that happened. Like, so many people
strange.
were obsessed with her crying. You're like, oh
Yeah.
Look,
Weird.
if a movie has robots in it, I just want to get this out there. If a movie has robots in it, it should involve robo-sex. That should be a feature in the movie. This movie, not the kind of robo-sex I want.
Oh my gosh.
well, thank you for clearing that part up. I respect your firm position on that.
I have more thoughts on that, but they're a little later in my notes. We should talk about the eyes.
All right, so the eyes, like, everybody was like gonna talk, you know, the eyes were like, oh, the eyes so weird. But what my thing I couldn't get past in the movie is how much Christopher Waltz looks like Dolph Lundgren. So, like, I was like, this is old Dolph Lundgren. His body always looked wrong to me because I'm thinking of Dolph Lundgren, who's very big and muscular. So he always looked like he had a giant head to me. And, like, I was saying this to Lauren. I'm like, look, like, does his body look wrong to you? Because he looks so much like Dolph Lundgren, but older. And she was like, oh my God, I can't unsee it now. And so
Yeah, now that you say that, I wouldn't have thought that on my own, but now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, he does kind of look like him.
his head looked so big. The eyes were nothing after that. I was just like,
I gotta tell you, I'm not seeing this one bit.
I don't
You
know.
don't see it? That man also, the doctor, is I mean, he's born to play like a tiny glasses like scientist or like possibly.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
he is German in real life, but they really play that up. I feel like in everything that he's in, he's really born for that role.
Yeah.
So the eyes. When I first saw the trailer, I remember seeing those eyeballs and being like, okay, this is goofy.
Yeah.
And I pretty much wasn't gonna see it, but I don't know. Then we went.
You
and
saw
a
it
whole bunch
twice.
3 times now. But I guess like after the trailer was released, everybody kind of had the reaction of like, yeah, those eyes there's something. And but the people, James Cameron, everybody were like, we're actually gonna make them bigger. But so they didn't actually make the eyes bigger, but they did make like the pupils and everything bigger so that they reduced the whiteness of the eyes.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know, apparently it made people happy. They also made her skin smoother, which is a strange reaction.
That's a weird sentence to say.
Because it's filmed with like 3D technology that they created for the Avatar movies.
Okay.
So it's like James Cameron's trademarked like technology that he invented or whatever.
Oh boy.
And here's a line that I read. Alita Battle Angel has more CGI in one of her eyes, more CGI geometry in just one of her eyes than Gollum has in his whole body.
Holy shit.
Take that, Gollum.
Yeah.
Alita Battle Angel strikes again.
This podcast stands as fuck Gollum.
Okay, on a purely marketing level, I can understand the eyes because they are more than anything. They are that makes the movie memorable. Once I saw that trailer, I never forgot the eyes and the title because the title is bonkers as hell too. So this movie, regardless of whether you're going to see it or not, you're always aware of it because everyone remembers this movie. Everyone remembers Alita Battle Angel because you're just like, oh, that weird eye girl movie? Like, yep, that's the one. Yeah.
Her CGI smile, though, too, also looks a little insane. When she has a full smile on, something's a little off. And I can't really explain what that is. But
I think it was...
I don't know if it's like Uncanny Valley or what.
When she was eating the chocolate was the part that I was like, this looks super weird. Out of everything in the movie, I was like, this looks real weird.
The eating stuff is so strange. So they have to, first of all, teach her how to eat an orange. Okay, so we currently, in 2020, have oranges. Okay, they exist.
Yeah.
This movie is in the 2500s. They still have oranges. This girl was living in the 2200s. Oranges also existed then. So, like, what's the deal with they have to teach her not to eat the peel of an orange or whatever? This doesn't make sense.
I think it's just a way for them to say, oh, she's, like, new to life.
I guess, but they could have picked something that made sense. Like, here's this weird, like, future food, Yeah. Like, that you have to, like, freeze and then sip through a straw or something. Like, okay, sure, that makes sense. She doesn't know how to eat that. Okay, but an orange? Come on. Like, a baby can eat an orange.
Babies cannot eat oranges.
I don't know. I don't think... Yeah. I think if you hand a baby an orange...
A baby could peel and eat an orange.
Are you kidding me?
I don't think so.
Give a baby a knife and an orange, he'll figure it out.
No, that's a dead baby. Babies are so dumb.
I was riding along with you on your stance on the orange until you said the baby. And now I'm like, no. If you hand a baby an orange, it's going in the mouth the same way it went in. And they're having that same reaction. They're going to have that, like, this is gross.
Yeah. Babies lack object permanence. They aren't even capable of thinking that the taste is something you have to get to.
Yeah, unravel. Yeah, no. And everything goes into the mouth the first time anyway. So, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... A baby doesn't get a hold of, like, a Lego and think, hey, maybe there's, like, something tasty inside. They just go, oh, you don't eat this,
That's what they should have done. They should have given her a Lego.
Here's breakfast.
Ah, gotcha.
Now that's what I want to see.
We just want to see if you're faking it. But you really don't remember.
Damn. What a bet. Like, that's a better movie. That makes the movie better if they just
Oh my god.
tricked her throughout.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, I'm dying. That was good.
I mean,
So
that's no joke, because in the sequels, she doesn't have like a moment where everything comes back to her. They come back to her in flashes. So theoretically, you could give her like, I don't know, a scorpion and be like, this is delicious. And she would still believe you. I think that's how they're going to get her. They're just going to trick her.
But it's like, I mean, she can speak, all the words fine and everything, It just doesn't track for me. So if we're staying on the topic of eating, so yeah, later in a little bit, her new boyfriend that she's instantly in love with, the first man that she sees,
Yeah.
Stupid.
shows her, he's like, oh, you think oranges are good? Have some chocolate. And she's like, chocolate is the best thing I've ever tasted in my life. Out of an orange, a burrito, and chocolate. Chocolate wins. But let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Do you think chocolate would be your favorite food? I mean, who would say chocolate's their favorite food? Out of an orange, a burrito, or chocolate, what would you pick?
If we're going back to the idea that you're looking at this from a child's perspective, I have to say that the chocolate is still tracks, because
You think so?
oh yeah, a child would eat nothing but chocolate if you let them, and so.
But she has like we're assuming like mid-20s-year-old taste buds.
Yeah, I don't know.
this
I don't
one's
know how
really
any of
good.
this is
Damn.
supposed to work. Like so
That's
so
true.
like from what I'm like understanding, like later in the movie, are they just like saying that the brain is the only thing that is actually human?
I guess
so-
so, yeah.
I don't know how any of these memories
You're right.
filtering back in.
There's so much of the science that does
Yeah,
not track
so,
here.
like-
I have more notes on other
Yeah,
things.
I have no idea, like.
Yeah.
But if we're still going on like this is the third thing you've eaten, your little baby taste buds or whatever, then okay. I don't know, But yeah.
But her tongue and her mouth was part of her, like, her...
What was left of her. Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot that like I don't get about everything.
Yeah.
Like even after like some of the memories come back, like just like only these specific things, and you remember nothing else about human connections or like anything, because
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know. It's I think that's my biggest thing. And Lauren, like Lauren's more familiar with the manga than I am, and but not like extremely familiar either. But she was like, I don't think there was a love interest like this, and I'm like, yeah. Because this doesn't fucking need it.
Not at
It
all.
doesn't need
That was my
No,
main thing.
It was so forced.
It was just like I honestly thought the first two acts were fine, and then the third act I was
Yeah.
like, this is shit. This is where this fell off the rails completely for me.
Yeah.
I was okay with like the bad dialogue and stuff, and whatever. I finding out that there was all this research behind like some of the mechanics, like the floating city and the the other things, is like a surprise to me, because like the rest of it is just total suspension of disbelief, and just a suspension of belief, and so you're just like, this is fine. I'm fine with all that,
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
then it's like once it gets to the third act, and it's like the stuff that happens there, and you're like, oh fucking just that's where I'm just like, but
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
if you were to ask me if you're like 4 out of 5 first two acts or whole film, it would be drastically different, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. And we'll do that
Okay,
later.
sorry.
No, for a film to be digestible, for it to truly like be able to be viewed and accepted, it has to have a clear definition, or clear enough, of like the world it's in or the universe. Or if it is abstract, it has to be displayed well. This, I didn't know what was real, like what could and couldn't happen, which I guess is cool, but like, yeah, when you're telling me the movie feels very thrown together for me. It feels like
some of it does, for sure. Yeah,
it's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna. It doesn't feel passionate to me. It just feels like a way for them to get money. Which is
like
fine.
They went really overboard and put so much attention and detail into like a couple things.
Yeah,
so overboard. Like the set was insane. They have a $200 million budget on this movie, by the way.
That.
Jesus
and
Christ.
Fucking wild.
They had 5 3D printers. They 3D printed almost everything on the set.
Oh my
God. They put hundreds of thousands of pounds of like stucco and siding onto all those buildings. This was all like on a lot. Like they're not CGI. Those are real like buildings they put together. They even put together stuff inside of those buildings. So just if you happen to be going past a window, like you would see the butcher inside or the restaurant or like whatever.
Oh wow.
And, like,
oh my God. What did
they went so hard on so much of this movie.
Then why is there so much story but so little story? Like, how did they do all that work but get
I think they
so
were
shit.
this like I think they were just like relying so heavily on being able to tell parts of the story later, like in future installments.
Yeah, that's true.
Because like
they did plan on that.
Because their whole thing is they're like we gotta go to Zalem, we gotta go to. They don't tell you why anybody would want to fucking go there. Like,
no,
you know nothing about it.
That's
You're
true.
like, except that it's
true.
like nicer. You know, you're just like,
yeah, that it's floating in the sky,
yeah,
and that seems
it's
cool.
gotta be fucking sick up there. Nobody knows why. You know, like the one,
no one's ever gone.
like
I fucking hate any.
It's true. You know what? No one has ever gone up there, and the only people that get to go are the people who win the little battle bots thing.
Oh my God.
And it's kind of implied that they are only going up there because they're going to be ripped to shreds and have their technology put into this man.
Later they drop that. You're like, oh, so. But yeah, it's.
Oh my gosh.
Do they say that Shirin, like Jennifer Connelly's character, do they say that she was there before and she got like kicked out? Okay.
The doctor was born
Oh,
up
okay.
there.
Yeah, I thought so.
And
right.
Yeah, so they were up there, and then they had a little girl who was handicapped. But for whatever reason, even though the floating city is supposed to be like where the rich people live, they had to come down for healthcare.
Yeah,
Just such a shittily told story.
Yeah, and
the details do not matter.
And so, like, Jennifer Connelly has that like purple gem in her forehead that they don't explain until like the last 15 minutes of the movie. Like, you have no.
Wait, what do they say?
Oh, that's like that's how like Nova, the you know, the person upstairs who's watching everyone. That's how he like watches everyone. They don't tell you this like until the like last 15 minutes or something.
I don't know.
And so he keeps like in the movie, he keeps like basically possessing people's bodies, taking over people's bodies, and that's how he like watches people. It's through these like.
See, I thought he was just
like
just doing that to
omnipotent.
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, I don't. They say that gem is like how he's. It's his eyeball into the world or something like that's how he like, and they don't explain what that is like till way later, and you're just like seeing this like thinking it's a fashion choice, you know, or something. You're like, okay, you know,
it's so weird. The times where they choose to expound upon detail and the times they choose to brush with broad strokes are just so unintelligible. They don't make sense.
Yeah.
Why they would emphasize this and not that. It's just sad. And the sport is called motorball, by the way.
Motorball.
I die. Again, another just bark laugh out of me.
The coolest name for a rollerblading game you've ever heard.
Motorball. But like everything else has like, oh, we're going to Zalem with Krishka and Krumbaugh But
Well,
yeah,
Gollum just rhymes with Gollum, who, as we know, has less CGI in his entire body than what's a head and one eye. So that's easy. I guess Motorball was like a play off of like Rollerball, which was a movie
Yeah.
like in the 70s or something. I
well,
don't know,
it was remade in the early 2000s, and it
was it?
suck rocks. Yeah.
Don't you think it's kind of funny that it also sounds like Murderball, kind of, and they do murder people?
Yeah.
The rules of this game are strange. They're so unclear. I feel like I don't know what goes on.
Like, okay, so the first introduction to the game, they play it Sandlot style, like in the down,
Yeah.
you know. And so there's like very clearly a goal and people score a goal. But then in like the later scene when she's actually playing like in the arena or whatever, they're just literally just rolling around trying to murder her, which they've all specifically been put there to do. I understand, but no, I saw like no goal or no one was trying to make a goal.
Right.
Okay. So they sort of address that. They address it very subtly and in a way that they can escape out of, because I noticed this. The announcer, when he's announcing that round, he says this is a, like, I don't remember the exact verbiage, but essentially like it's a no holds barred match or something.
Okay.
And so he's just like, it goes off rails when they, start like murdering, but like the point of it is to like roughly play, I think. Was how it was the intention.
Well, here's the thing, because they go to, when she decides to go through her rebel phase, which happens pretty quickly, she is an angsty teen, like just about instantly. Her and her little fake boyfriend go and see a Motorball game, and they are murdering each other at that game as well. Yeah. And people are cheering and unfazed by all of the murder happening.
Look, Kayla, a lot of changes happen between now and 2563. One of them, I guess, being that, like, murder is, like, fine spectacle again. That happens in the 2300s.
I read it referred to as a gladiator-style game, which kind of tracks.
For sure.
Another thing about, I guess if we're just bopping around, it doesn't really matter when we talk about stuff, but when she does go in the tryouts, everybody who's there with her are hunter warriors whom she has recently met, and she doesn't recognize any of them.
The girl's dumb. That's what I'll say.
But I was like, does she have face blindness like me?
They never like got into like how much any of her senses may be like computer enhanced or whatever, but based on how quickly she like remembers how to like murder like trained killers, you'd think like that she's got some kind of like super aware, like, like some kind of onboard computer, like kind of, you know what I'm saying, like that type of shit. But but then you're like, she does not recognize these people like at all. She's got no Terminator face scans or anything going on behind the lenses there. I don't.
Big ol' eyes with nothing behind them.
That's like, that's what I'm saying. That's why, like, villain, she is an easily defeated. She's essentially a superhero. She's an easily defeated superhero because all you have to do is trick her. And she's easily tricked.
Yeah, it's very weird.
You could kill her by saying her shoelaces are untied. She would say, "Oh, what are shoelaces?" And then boom, she's dead.
They should have done that. That could have been funny. Could have been a good prank. Do you think this movie suffered from James Cameron being the writer but not the director? Like, if Robert Rodriguez was allowed to have more of a, like, writing position, do you think it could have been cooler?
I don't think that I've actually seen any of the films that you mentioned before, except for some bits of Spy Kids.
Okay.
You never saw the Grindhouse movies?
Oh, I'm aware of them, but, you have to, like when all these films are coming out, I don't have a lot of time to watch television when there aren't children around, so
Sure.
so it's like,
yeah, that's true. Come on, kids can watch anything. I was watching stuff way worse than this when I was your kid's age.
Okay.
Right. I mean, so was I. I was going, I was.
And look, we're fine.
I don't know about that, but I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I don't know if I'm fine, That's why I made different decisions,
Okay. Be a good parent if you want, I guess.
Try all you want,
To answer your question, I don't think so. I am, I guess, the opposite of Sean. I have seen almost every Robert Rodriguez movie because I was obsessed with him in like middle school and high school. Robert Rodriguez he made his mark on this movie really well, and his best mark is really fucking cool stylized violence. And
yeah.
I loved the fight scenes in this movie. They were over the top.
Yeah, they were good.
Tight as shit. I mean, I loved it. He's not like, I don't know, who's a great screenwriter. Who's the guy?
But it's like, so what I'm thinking about is like the cool parts of this movie are like the set, the scenery, the fight scenes, like things that are controlled by the director,
Yeah.
Whereas the things that are not cool about this movie are the writing,
story.
the strange parts of the story
Yeah.
that don't add up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I was thinking of it. And the thing that nobody likes, the eyes, is also James Cameron.
There was like a couple lines that were so
Bad.
like over
Oh
the
my
top.
God, yeah.
And
There were some
I just-
one-liners that were
I just had to
terrible.
wonder, like, what if those were like fan service, like if those came straight from print, like from the mangas or something. You know what I mean?
I don't know. The big boy with the big, the big giant boy,
Yep.
has the worst one-liners in
Yeah,
this movie.
yeah.
They have
Yeah.
such bad ones. Yeah, one, come here, little flea, so I can pinch your head off. Guess
Yeah,
who's
like-
scared when they hear that line? No people.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, I was like, is this a thing? Like, that's notorious throughout the manga where like that's what he calls her, and so that's why we're doing this. Like, why else do some of these?
Yeah.
Like, not that any of the dialogue was like great or anything, but some in particular, you were just like, whoa.
There was one-liner I do have to shout out, though,
Okay.
that is said by my boy Derek Mears. He says, "Nice shot for a meat boy," because he's a robot boy and not a regular boy. I just thought that was good. I did change my Twitter name to Meat Boy today.
Oh, you just like getting Meat Boys called out.
I love when I get a shout out in a movie. Okay, what else do we need to talk about? We talked Hugo's motorcycle? The motorcycle that's just one large tire?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's all we really have to say about that. It is in my notes.
Did you guys know Robo Blood is blue? Because
They have blue and red blood throughout the movie, and I think that was a ratings thing.
Oh, really?
Huh.
Yeah, because I think you can only show like so much blood. Isn't this movie PG-13?
Tis.
Pretty sure
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like probably why the dog died off screen as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
Also, you rarely see dogs die on dogs and kids.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never see them die on screen, even in
Yeah.
R-rated films. We just did the movie Ready or Not, too, and that was one where the kids
off
walk
screen.
off screen to die.
Right.
You just see the one kid get punched though.
That rocked.
But
Anyway.
he's got his legs punched out. That's a different movie.
Yeah, would this... okay, that dog. Why did they have to kill it like that? And then, okay, if everyone's seen the trailer, she's got this like battle paint on right under her eyes. Were you
Yeah,
aware
that
that was
was-
dog blood?
That was super weird.
It's the blood of the innocent.
I don't know.
Like, why?
And that's who she's fighting for, or something like that.
I hated that because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, okay, I'm starting the movie. What do I know about this movie's It's got me Christoph Waltz. It's gonna do flippies, and we got battle paint sometime. When's that gonna come in? And nope, it's dog blood.
Yeah.
That's probably what I also thought. Like, that was probably just that bit of fan service that that this character has that in the manga or whatever, some kind of so I don't Yeah, I was same. I was like waiting. I was like, how's this gonna come up? And then you were like, no. You see her put her fingers in it, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
No. And then you're like, it's happening, isn't it? And it happened.
That sentiment that this isn't happening, is it? That's the whole movie. You're just...
Yeah.
You're just sitting
For that
here.
scene, I mean, maybe the dog had to die just because it's like, obviously, if you love something, it's going to get murdered, first of all. But secondly,
Wait, what?
And that's just the rules of a movie. If you love like they always, like her boyfriend dies in the end, like their dog dies, or, you know, like they take everything that you love. You're just not supposed to love anything.
I guess that's
the
true,
rules.
yeah.
Creates drama. But secondly, for that particular scene, it's because they had the dog master and the hellhounds. The dog robots. Robot dogs, whatever.
How did they not do more of him? Like, obviously, we all like when they introduced, because they're at this bar. They're at a bar called Kansas, by the way.
Because of the original setting of the manga.
Yeah, that's what I'm nodding to. And they're like introducing all the most famous bounty hunters in town. What are they called? Hunter warriors.
Hunter warriors. Yeah.
And it's just like pretty normal, like, oh, this guy's killed this guy's killed this, and this guy has robo-dogs. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Give me robo-dogs.
Also, something that happened just before this scene, like when she's going to sign up to be a cop.
Yep, fucking narc.
She gets a leather jacket out of nowhere. Where's this leather jacket come from?
I didn't notice that.
I'm like, this chick's body was just invented, okay? And like suddenly she has a leather jacket that fits her perfectly. Like
Where did she?
Where
How did she know they were cool?
She doesn't know how to eat an orange, but she does remember that leather jackets are cool. Yeah. So I'm like, she gets a leather jacket out of nowhere, signs up to be a cop, and then goes to a cop bar. It's like, what's in my notes?
Yeah. How did they not get Sam Elliott to be the dog master? Because they clearly wanted
That
Sam
would have
Elliott.
been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been good.
I would have appreciated that, yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's just, they're like, the movie's called Alita Battle Angel, and he's like, well, I don't think that's gonna be my movie.
That's a good Sam Elliott you got there.
You like that?
Good grief.
Let's see, what else happens around here? They're just more terrible one-liners. He goes, dance, you little flea.
Oh my...
Don't talk to me. Don't call me flea anymore.
When she is attacking the guy who calls her a flea, Growishka, that's the name, she is doing like her final chop she's gonna do to him, and she literally, and they do it twice because she has a flashback in between while she's like running to do the chop.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, you should preface this with saying her whole entire body was sliced into bits, the only thing left being a single arm and her torso, which we know is her original bits.
Oh my
okay,
god.
continue.
She goes, hi-ya!
And chops him
And
right in
chops
the eye.
him! Hi-ya! How...
And the hi-ya triggers the flashback. And you know what else? Another woman famous for saying hi-ya. Miss Piggy. Ever heard of her? Shout out to Miss Piggy. We hope you're doing well.
Yo, this podcast for sure stands Miss Piggy.
Hell yeah. And then what's his name? Sam
Elliott?
Sam Elliott comes in. Sam Elliott comes in and releases the dogs on Big Boy
Growishka.
and says, he wasn't a dog lover. I hate that. Straight up murders this man because he ain't a dog lover.
I gotta say, it's fun to hear that you guys wrote down some of these like one-liners, because they just like...
Once I started noticing that the one-liners were insane.
Well, they just washed over me. They just like... I was just like, ugh. I like none of these stuck.
The one-liners were like so bad that they like took me out of the movie. When you see like this dude, okay, here's his character. He's the most gigantic man. He has the biggest robot body. It's huger than anybody else's robot body. He's the scariest man. And then he says, "Come here, little flea. I'm gonna pick your head off." Like,
I love that shit.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Oh damn. I had a hard time disliking this movie, which is weird to say, because like I've already said it sucked, and I'm sure I'll say other bad things about it, because I don't stick to anything I say. But, like, I totally get, like, this is 12-year-old fodder, man. This shit would get eaten up by, did your 9-year-old watch this with you, Sean?
No, we watched it after they went to bed last night.
Okay.
They'd probably like it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, because you don't really give a shit about story when you're a kid. You don't really care if the story's bad, but like, and it's visually stimulating constantly, so a kid would fucking love it. So like, I can totally see this movie has an audience, but like,
that audience is us. We are watching.
No, we're not.
So right around here in the movie, because her body's been chomped to bits, is when she gets her real bod. So what we previously knew was that the doctor had given her his own dead baby's body.
Oh, which I called that shit. Like,
oh yeah, for sure. He for sure he has a daddy complex, but the other way than we normally talk about.
Oh, oh well then.
He wants to be daddy. So she finds her real body, and then she puts it on, and then it does like dominoes until it looks like what she sees in her mind or whatever.
Okay,
right.
Okay. I want to, speaking of shitty writing, I think the nurse or Christoph Waltz, when this is happening, they go, it's the suit. They're making micro adjustments. And I'm like, no, they're just making regular fucking adjustments. You can't add micro on top of it to science it up. Like, that doesn't change it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we need a word that sounds a little smarter in here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, let's add micro. And here's what I'm wondering. Well, they also say, ooh, looks like she's a little bit older than we thought.
What was that?
Yeah.
What happened?
Because she gets big old robot titties. But let me ask you something. If you're a robot, why do you need titties? Come on.
Yeah, what if she is the perfect...
What's the point?
Yeah.
Literally no point.
If she is the, like, if that...
Just get in the way.
That body is built to be a killing machine.
Yeah.
Do the titties help?
No, I don't think so. Also, here's another thing. You never see a chubby robot. You know what I'm saying? Give me some robot jelly rolls. Like, if the body can look like anything she thinks of in her mind, give me some robot jelly rolls. You know, that'd be fun. You never see a robot with jelly rolls.
To be fair, there were some... You didn't ever see robot jelly rolls. But there were, like, some interesting robot shapes in this movie.
Was lots of... But I'm trying to think back to her little flashbacks, like, where... And I'm just assuming that all of the people in the flashbacks were also, like, this...
Robot people.
Yeah, cyborg, cybernetic or whatever. And I'm just trying to think, like, were there any? It seemed like there were different size people, but they were so brief, and so I'm just like wondering.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I don't remember enough.
I was also thinking, like, if everybody's a robot, like she calls herself a girl in this movie, but do you think if everybody's a robot that like gender even matters anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
and if you can just switch your little parts at will.
Yeah. Well, that's what
flip back and forth, or
well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like so her brain was human. So when did she become a robot, and how? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so if if she was not a robot until she was 13 or whatever, then you would be more informed about that kind of thing. But like you said, you know, if you're, I don't know, for all we know, from as poorly as this film described some of these elements, you know, she could just be plucking bodies out of brains and putting them into, you know, robots like from birth, or they could just be making the brains. I mean, we don't know how these brains are still human.
Lab created brains, because if everybody's body is a robot, then how do they procreate?
Yeah, I don't. So, you know, more questions.
We're asking the big questions here tonight.
Yeah. Wow. See, we're what you would call intellectual.
Yeah. We are sponsored by Mensa and Oxford.
sponsored by Harvard University. So also another thing to say about this part, when she gets the new body, when she wakes up, she comes in the room full ass nude, doing gymnast moves. Okay. Now that's a little saucy. PG-13, excuse me.
Jesus Christ.
If her being nude doesn't matter, like, then why is she ever wearing clothes?
To fit in, I don't know.
Because leather jackets are tight.
That's true. That's true. Okay, good point. Good point.
Oh my god.
Here's
fucking movie.
okay, so she gets her new bod, and then there's a scene where he's sleeping in his bed, and she's sitting in the window like Spider-Man,
Exactly like
watching
Spider-Man.
him sleep.
Yeah.
And it is never mentioned that is extremely weird.
Normal
Very weird.
things change. 500 since 2563.
Yeah.
He just wakes up and he's like, "Oh hey."
Yeah. She's like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Oh, I was partying with Vector. Apparently there was alcohol involved." Like, why? Because you have your shirt off? Like, what are we implying?
Yeah.
Like,
He's
like, yeah, just laying there. I know, I look beautiful.
It's really easy to show someone hungover. Like, you add bags under their eyes, and you, like, make them groggy, and you make them say a line like, "Oh, I'm so hungover." But yeah, this guy, he's just like, "Yeah, oh, my head. All right, well, let's go." It's so weird.
So his job is that he's a little bad boy who attacks robot people and steals their little body parts and sells them to Mahershala Ali's character, Vector. And Vector has promised him that he can go upstairs to the big city in the sky if he gets, I think, $1 million or whatever their dollars are.
Uh-huh.
And he just needs 90,000.
Which is, that drove me up a wall.
Okay.
Like, seriously, you scraped together nearly a fucking million.
Yeah.
And you're like,
as any of us could by his age.
Yeah.
I know. And he's like, this last 90K though. You know? Like,
And so she
'Cause he's
pulls out her beating heart
Right.
What is-
and goes, "I will sell my heart."
Dark laugh.
what's this kid look like? He's like 22? You know? Like
Yeah.
something?
Max.
You know? And
Max
you've
22.
come up, you're 90K shy of $1 million of something. Like, whatever this currency is, that's whatever. But you're 90K shy. And you're like sweating it. Like, no, you're fine. You know, you don't.
Your girlfriend's gonna die for that last 90K.
You're fine.
Came up with 910K on my own, but last 90K.
Hi, James Cameron here. I'm just here to say that due to inflation, $1 million is actually not that much in 2563. Thank you. Goodbye.
And in fact, $1 million is not that much now. I mean, I have tons of them.
what is it? $1 million? He's got
Pull up your bootstraps, buddy. And when she pulls out her heart and she's like, "I'll sell my heart
What the
and just be
fuck?
dead. I don't even care." I wrote in my notes, "Capitalism is wild."
Yeah, he's buying horts. Well, I guess there's a whole black market.
Well, she has like a rare heart.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, people are freaks. Okay. So the guy who is her boyfriend's friend, who is a scrapper with him, the previously mentioned from the Spider-Man movies, I referred to him in my notes as No Way Jose because he looks just.
He does.
That's a wrestler, Sean. I don't know if you watch wrestling, but
He does look like
No Way Jose is a
Okay.
wrestler, and
Okay.
he looks just like him.
Okay.
So
Also, shout out to Noe Jose. He's recently out of a job.
sad R.I.P. So my next note was boyfriend catches No Way Jose scrapping parts without him. Yeah, so he catches his friend scrapping the parts without him, and they have a little fight, and then Mohawk guy shows up
Oh my
and is
god.
like, "I'm gonna blame a murder on you."
We haven't even talked about this asshole. I fucking hate this actor. He plays the same shitty character in every goddamn movie he's in, and I fucking hate him.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him before. What did I have him down as being? Oh, from Deadpool. I don't know if I've seen the first Deadpool, actually. I saw the second one.
I mainly know him. He's in the Divergent series, and the kids at the shelter watch that series a lot. And so I've seen
Okay,
those
I don't
movies,
know
and I
what that is.
fucking hate him in those movies, and I fucking hate him in this movie. Mm-hmm. The end.
Yeah. That guy's a bad boy.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. He kills No Way Jose.
Yeah.
And then the boyfriend's on the run. I did also have a side note. We were talking about Mahershala Ali, but let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever look as good in tiny sunglasses as Mahershala Ali?
Dude pulls them
'Cause
off.
I don't think so. He freaking pulls them off better than dang anybody. Also, he's an incredible villain.
Oh, for
person.
sure.
Even though he's only partially a villain in this, because it's like when he's taken over by the other guy or whatever.
That was-
when he's normal, he's good. I don't know.
That part, when he got taken over by Nova, I laughed, but it was like one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
He was like so into it coming across like a totally different person. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From an acting perspective, that I was like so fucking taken by that. I was like, holy
You're like,
shit.
give this man another Oscar,
he
okay?
really wanted you to know that it was like the other character that gets transformed, not so much, you know? But like, that's how like well he did it, that it was like jarring. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, and I think that's why that both me and Colin were like, when you're like, oh yeah, Nova's just taking over everyone, we're both like, what? I didn't remember
He
that.
took over the rope.
I thought he only took over Mahershala
No,
Ali.
he took over the
but-
robot dude a couple times.
Grunwishka.
Yeah, it does make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, Rushka. He's way scarier to me with the trench coat on. I was like, whoa, this is kind of Resident Evil, you know? And then it was just
Yeah.
like, oh.
And how big's that jacket when he takes it off? I mean,
Yeah.
this robot has big final boss energy.
For sure.
While we're talking about stuff that bugged us, and I know like this is getting long, but so she chops off his arm earlier in the film, and then Hugo and them jack this other arm that's like just amazing or whatever, and it's got the finger projectiles and stuff that you can see in the trailer. So my main problem is like these people like Vector and Sharin, they are working for the elites upstairs to provide this motorball. And this guy, Gruishka, is like their top enforcer guy. And they had to jack a motorball player to get the best tech. Like, how's that? That made no fucking sense.
Right?
You know, like how did this shit
Yeah.
exist
My
and they
God.
don't know about it? And like they had to like pay some chumps to jack it and give it to their number one. Like, I was just like, how did they not have something that's better than that? How is that the best thing and they don't know about it, or just like any
Oh
of
my
this
God.
shit? You know, like
Yeah.
you know, sorry to derail that again, but it was just another like what? You
Yeah,
know?
no, you're totally right.
And
That's just another, like, where are they getting detailed? Because, like, these bad guys are the best, you know?
Yeah.
But they don't have that good attack, so they have to go for freaking dum-dums.
and some 20-year-old human kids with tasers jacked the original owner of this arm
Yeah!
Yeah.
and cut it off with a blowtorch. But you know,
Yeah.
but the super soldier battle angels gonna have a real problem with that. It was wild. But
Oh
You
my
know, something
God.
else they never explained really in this movie, and this is almost not related to whatever we were just talking about,
Yeah.
but I was thinking about, because they're, what did we call them? Hunter warriors. Their whole thing is that they get like a name and a face, and they go and find that person and murder them for money. But they never say, like, what's the justice system here? Like, what crimes do you get murdered for? Like, is every crime murderable? They just kind of seem like they murder people
Yeah.
for everything, or
plop
like
your head on that table and then
like what are the crimes here? I don't know. That just was something I was wondering about.
You're right. That made it weird. I didn't know when the robots, they're like robot enforcers, I think they're called like sentinels or berserkers or something.
was it Centurion?
Centurion, that's right. Which they look like the robot from RoboCop. It was ill-defined who they were. Like, did they work for the government? Did they work for Vector or Nova? Assumedly Nova. But, like, when they murdered, or, like, did they just authorize people to murder? I did not get the justice system at all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. What else do we need to talk about? I did have another note on the, I almost said roller derby scene. On the motorball. Just two little fun facts. First of all, some of the world's top inline skaters performed as the motorball competitors, which is cool. The 2003 X Games competitor Katie Ketchum doubled for Rosa Salazar's character Alita. So I just think that's cool. They got like really famous bladers to do the work there. Nice. And they also filmed it based on how NASCAR races are filmed.
Okay.
Just a little fun fact. NASCAR, y'all are Indiana people, okay? We all know. Those are just 2 fun facts about the blading.
Hell yeah.
So, bada bing, bada boom, Alita has to come and save her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. She comes out of the church with his head in her arms, and he's like hooked up to her heart.
Yeah.
Yes.
How is she still alive? This was very weird.
She's the battle angel.
So he dies, and then she comes out and she has his head, and she shows the Centurions like, look, I did kill the guy, even though like Zapan says, oh, nice trick or whatever, but doesn't tell on her.
Nope.
And then
No,
but then when they are like, oh, you're messing around with like her kill, which authorizes her to kill him, he still doesn't tell on her, and then she kills him.
Okay.
Justice is served, okay? Wipe hands,
and it's
clean.
like,
I respect him now.
not even like for self-preservation's sake did he snitch.
No.
He just
Look, he might be a cop, but he's no narc. Okay?
Yeah. Fuck. I guess he's kind of an okay dude.
Yeah, so then her boyfriend gets a robot body. He tries to climb to the sky. He gets shredded by the tube knives.
Why did this happen? Why? I didn't care.
I don't know. And also, one thing that's funny about that is how come Alita can jump over the tube knife things, but he can't? I don't understand.
I gotta say, his body did look pretty shitty.
That's true. You're right. But if she can jump over it, then why doesn't she just keep walking up to the top? If she can just jump over the things when they send her
I don't know.
down,
like,
that's
she didn't want to go up there, did she? She was
not
like,
yet.
Yeah,
she's not prepared.
Not yet, but
she has to level up a little.
He looked like Boba Fett's parts, like after Boba Fett was in the Sarlacc pit or whatever. You know, like he really. I was like, are they trying to make him look like Boba Fett or something?
And once he gets sliced up too, if you'll notice, he's sliced up with the exact amount of remaining body as Alita was when she was sliced up. Just a single arm and torso.
Either, if that wasn't a callback to the earlier, which I'm sure it was, but what flashed in my mind was I literally just said out loud, they can't think of any other configuration of body. Like,
honestly. What if she had to grab him by one toe or
I'd
something?
love it!
That would be more interesting.
Yeah.
Or just grab his head, straight up grab his head, grab his hair.
Yeah!
See, that would be fun.
Yeah,
okay,
make it...
But no.
Why does no one let us make movies?
Honestly. Give us the money.
Why don't you just throw him back up there? That's what
we only need $90K more. One small donation of $90K.
Nice.
That's a nice little... Okay.
Okay, we just have to get to... There's like 2 more important things to talk about. One, the best scene in the entire film, when Alita Battle Angel is standing in front of the mirror and thinking about her dead boyfriend, and one single tear comes out of the eye. You've never seen this before, folks. She slices the tear with a knife, okay?
Why?
I totally missed that. What was I doing for that split second?
It's the most incredible part of the whole movie.
And
okay, when we saw that in 3D, okay, we lost our GD minds. That was the point when I was like, this is an A+ movie.
What happened in 3D? Exactly. Like, did the tear come toward you, or what?
Reaching out and slicing it.
It was really mostly. I don't know if y'all have seen any like more recent 3D movies.
Oh,
but
yeah.
They really are almost the same as watching it in normal D.
Yep, normal D. That's what they call it.
That's what we call it. As I said, sponsored by Harvard University.
Yeah, baby.
So anyway, that best scene ever in any movie, actually.
And knowing what you said earlier about like all the technology just in like Alita's eyeball or whatever, I'm sure that shot, like that whole thing where she looks in the mirror, thinks about her dead boyfriend, cries a single tear, and then cuts it in half, cost I don't know, $20,000.
Possibly more. I mean,
Yeah, like, what?
$200 million budget. So, yeah, I don't know.
So who knows how that was sliced up. And then the very final thing is the big reveal at the end when Nova turns out to takes off his glasses for the big reveal that it's Edward Norton. And then we roll credits.
That was like, what the fuck?
I couldn't believe it. I was just like, are you fucking No!
I mean, the world was shook when Edward Norton popped out
Yeah.
in 2019 and when this movie was in theaters.
I don't get him, like, whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, Red Dragon is a pretty good movie.
Uh-huh.
And, like, he seems like a really good actor. And, like, I mean, I'm not the best judge of that, you know, to be fair. But, like, the cast of this movie is fine, I think. Good, you know, good actors and stuff. I'm not trying to, like, disparage that, but just, like, by the time you get to the end of this movie, and then Ed Norton's like, ha ha ha, it's me, Ed Norton, you know? Like, you're just like, why did you sign on for this?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's how much, like, clout that James Cameron has and how their faith in this being, like, this blockbuster trilogy or whatever, you know?
Can I tell you, earlier when we see him and he has the glasses on, and actually even after the glasses reveal, first of all, let me mention, I do have face blindness, so I don't always see faces the same way as a normal person. But I was convinced that it was Dana Carvey.
I could totally see that. Yeah.
And honestly, I thought that was way cooler than being Edward Norton.
Gasped. Oh man, I would have popped.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
Our remake of this film is going to be so good.
Holy shit.
It's going to be so we're going to have Sam Elliott, Dana Carvey.
We're going to have Kayla as Alita Battle Angel.
Hell yeah.
Zendaya was actually like the other person they were talking to for Alita when they were doing casting. Yeah, and I thought that would have been really cool too.
Yeah.
I love Zendaya. There is currently no actual plan to get a sequel to this movie.
God.
And with, you know, everything how it is, I don't see like Disney being like, yeah, here's another 200 mil for some movie that will probably not do anything. But there is currently a change.org petition to get a sequel to this movie that has like 150